What's going on, Spitfires? Welcome back to another episode of the Spitfire Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren LeMunyan, the Spitfire Coach, and I want to vent with you. No, I'm actually not going to vent with you. In fact, I literally listened to a podcast where this person does rants, but it's like complaining rants. And I had so much anxiety around it. I was like, oh, this feels awful. Like, if we have suggestions around service or around protocols and processes, like just dogging people doing the best they can or what they've been told to do just felt so awful to me. And I wanted to talk about this topic because I just got off a session with a new coachee, with a new client who is in a power position and has realized through one session that they were venting a lot. And people come on to sessions all the time and they just want to vent. I mean, shoot, it feels amazing to just like let everything off your chest and just dump it. But what does it do to the other person? Now, as a coach, I don't really take it on because I have a limit. And I usually ask, so what do you want to do with this? Or so how does this work towards our future goal? I have permission to do that. But a lot of times in our life with family members, with friends, we become the dumping ground of, oh my God, I can't believe this person did this. And my job sucks. And my boyfriend is a pain in my butt. And my mother-in-law, and blah, blah, blah. And before we know it, like we haven't gotten a word in 13 minutes and there isn't an end in sight. So what do we do? And like if we are the venter, like how do we stop ourselves? And I think the first thing is to realize like this is super addictive. Like we have like been wired to just look to build community. Like we're human social animals. And so when we are feeling bad, we want other people to feel bad too. I mean, we don't want to make them feel bad, but we want them to share in that experience. And so we rile them up. We get them all kinds of instigated in our feelings, which is why we have such amazing inflection in our voice and such passion behind the story. And can you believe they did this to me? And before we know it, they're like, yeah, you get them, you go. Now, if you don't take the bait, that person is going to either try harder or they're going to go somewhere else where they get fed that way. And then you might become the target because they're like, why don't you back me up? You never have my side. Like I watch a lot of reality TV. I know it's my guilty pleasure. And all the time, all of these fights are, you're not loyal to me. You didn't have my back. It's like, because you were acting a fool, like you were being super negative. And no, I don't have those feelings about that person. So if you are in a place of leadership, if someone is frustrating you on your team, there's an amazing TikTok video that I will reshare because I think it's amazing, where when you talk badly about people, it is character assassination. And if I know anything about people, we are not all one way all the time. So if we cast them in this negative light, if we're frustrated and we're complaining about them, we have now skewed the vision, the image of them into a negative place. And it doesn't give them a way forward. It doesn't give us any other options or opportunities for them to shift out of it. And so if we're doing that and we're then putting it on someone else, if see, you should feel this way too. And if we're in a power position, we have now tainted the view, not just for ourselves of that person, but for other people on our team. And then that person is wondering, well, shoot, is this person like, what if this person doesn't like what I'm doing? Are they going to trash me like this? So it doesn't feel good to be on the receiving end, even if it's not about you. And it may feel good temporarily as you're expelling all of this emotion. But the reality is, after the fact, you're going to feel a little remorse. You might feel guilty about it, like, man, I don't feel any better. I still feel frustrated. And now I want to go tell someone else, or I feel bad that I just dumped this. So, what's the way forward? Like, you're going to get frustrated with people. It's not always going to go your way. And it's not about, condensing it down and compartmentalizing it and becoming a pressure cooker of repressed emotions, because that's where resentments form. What we want to do is give ourselves a safe space to communicate, to process. And I highly suggest just having a spiral bound notebook where you can literally say, I feel this way. I feel frustrated. Great. What has led to the frustration? Well, so and so did this, and so did that, and so did this. What we're doing is objectively collecting the facts so that we can separate our emotional storytelling from the facts of the situation. And then we can ask ourselves, how do I want to feel about this situation? Or what do I want this outcome to be? And we can start saying, well, I want us to be on the same page. I want there to be understanding. I want to show up calm, cool, collected, at peace with the situation, that have clearly indicated what expectations are or what the new standards are. And then at that point, you probably will notice that the energetic and emotional charge has dissipated, probably about 40 to 80%. But what you've also done is given yourself a way forward and an action plan. Because when we're doing the venting, when we're in that cycle, we don't have a way forward and we just keep going, start of the story, end of the story, repeat, 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 repeat. And then we get more of that frustration and then we get more exhausted. So think about, if you don't want to feel a certain way, how do you want to feel? So if you're using language of, I don't want to feel this way, I don't want to feel frustrated, what's the positive form of that? At peace, clear, empowered, empowering. And that gives you a forward viewpoint of how do you now need to show up? What do you need to say? Who do you need to communicate with? And how do you adjust so that you're self-regulating and self-managing your emotions and you're super aware of it? What I will also recommend is, if you have been a chronic venter, you need to make new commitments to people. You need to acknowledge, I've been venting in the past. I have dumped on you energetically and emotionally. I apologize. And I am committed to not doing this in the future. And I want you to hold me accountable that if I start to do it, we have a word and I go and take care of it myself, because it's not fair to you for me to do that. It's a big move. It is a power play to admit this and to start anew. And I guarantee it will completely increase your stock of respect with your company by doing this. So if you have acknowledged that it is you doing it, this is your way forward. Find a safe space to write it down. Think of how you want to feel. Think about what you need and make a new commitment to people. Now, if someone comes into your space and begins venting at you, you can acknowledge and validate, that seems really frustrating. And you can summarize it in an objective way. So it sounds like we need to have a hard conversation with this person. It sounds like you're really fired up about it. What do you need me to do? And if the person keeps going and going, okay, so I've got this at this point, we can have a follow-up conversation. Even if this is your boss, even if it's the CEO of the company, you having a firm line and boundary where you're hearing them, but you're not taking on their energy. Because what ends up happening is we absorb it and then we're stressed and then we feel like we're failing, and you're not failing. You're doing the best you can. So by having that line of standard of, this is a semi-vent free space. Like if I notice it, I'm going to help you convert it. But if you're not willing to convert it, like, please exit the premises, because this is a safety zone of positivity and constructive collaboration. So if you're on the receiving end, boundary, 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 convert, acknowledge, validate, be objective. If you are the one giving it, be an adult, be aware, convert it, and make a new commitment and apologize for your wrongdoings in the past. So this is my rant about venting. I hope it's been super helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up, Lauren@spitfirecoach.com, and make sure you're subscribed. And you can listen to spitfirepodcast.com or on YouTube. And if you have any questions, let me know. Y'all keep being awesome.